Moving on, nice news today. Criminals, bless them. I mean, you know, we're talking people who steal things, assault people, take property, destroy cars, that sort of thing. They're going to be allowed to work from home under community sentences. Is it because there isn't any space in prisons, or is it because it's a bit harsh, isn't it, to a little criminal there to send him to prison away from his family? Mike Neville's a former Met Police detective who's probably more angry than me. Michael, good afternoon.
Yes, hello, Jeremy. Yes, I am.
Germany? Well, sorry, what do you mean Germany? You just called me Germany, man. What's the matter with you? Right, listen.
Germany?
What is going on, Michael? What is going on, son? It's a nightmare.
Well, what you have here is that you have the liberal left who simply don't like to lock people up in prison. And I read the article, and the ridiculous thing is that apparently you can work from home if it's raining. So I'm sure all our, bricklayers and construction workers who are out there in the freezing conditions are appalled that, these people are treated with absolute kid gloves. And what you have as well is that if you read the article, the Justice Secretary says, well, what we're going to do is free more prisoners, and we're going to use curfews and home detention and this sort of stuff.
Who's going to police that? Who's going to police that?
Well, listen to this. I did a Freedom of Information Act request myself with the Met, and I found out that only a quarter of tag breaches have any action at all, and that doesn't mean even being arrested. So a quarter of the people, when that tag goes off and says, they're out, it's the wrong time, they're in the wrong place, only in a quarter of times does anything happen. So the public are being deceived here. Criminals are being released and allowed to do what they want.
So they're released because presumably there's not the space in prison. They're released to do their community service from home. You've just said that you found out through a Freedom of Information request that 25% aren't turning up and nothing's happening to them, my friend.
What happened? Only a quarter of the actual, when the tag goes off and says they're in the wrong place or they're out at the wrong time, only a quarter of those are dealt with. 75% of the time, nothing happens. So they're allowed to just get away with it.
Why have we got to a point, Mick, where it seems, and I know I find myself saying it every day, that we seem to not care too much about the victim anymore. We seem to care about the perpetrator. We seem to use kid gloves on anybody who has broken the law, who's done absolutely jack for our country, but can come in and seemingly get stuff that people that have worked here all their lives can't get. And it becomes a daily sort of grind, doesn't it? We're showing pictures now, those thugs being released from prisons with their Gucci bags and their new trainers. And you made such a good point. If you're out now, 4:30, freezing cold Tuesday, wherever, grafting, labouring for your family, you must come home and watch or listen and think, why the hell don't I? Why am I doing it? Why am I playing the game straight? It's pointless.
Well, that's the actual problem here, is we're reaching a tipping point where playing the game and abiding by the rules is now the most stupid option. You've got people working in shops who see, individuals come in and they steal what they want, and they steal as much value as that person's getting for an 8-hour or 10-hour shift grafting away at the shop. And people are just getting sick and tired of this. And politicians, it's just like you said in the previous section about immigration, that the politicians are just completely out of touch on this. And criminals, of course, they absolutely know how to play the game. They know if they steal less than £200, they're very unlikely to ever get prosecuted. Even if they're caught for doing something, they're very, very unlikely to go to jail. And if they're given one of these community sentences, well, they can sit at home, they can flick through the computer. And what kind of punishment is that? I mean, I'm part of the hang and flog 'em brigade, me, and flicking through computers does not come into that punishment.
I just think it sends entirely the wrong message. But what's really interesting, and what gives stations like this a voice, led by Mike in the morning and Julia, is that actually, we were brought up differently, right? So I was scared of the police, you broke the law, you went to prison. And now we seem to make every excuse for the perpetrator. As I said, he's got he or she have got a bad background, or they're suffering from anxiety, they didn't go to the right school, or they don't have there's not enough community centres, which I think is a right insulting thing to say to all the people who've struggled all their lives, who've never broken the bloody law. I'm like you. They said Khan, who's going to get a knighthood, really? He goes on and on about, we've got to make sure diversity. The highest knife crime ever in London. I swear to God, instead of giving £10 for a zombie knife, I would stop and search, and I would double the sentence. You get found with a knife, you're going to prison for 5 years, and I build prisons, and I wouldn't let you out for 5 years, because I tell you categorically they'd stop carrying knives. But we're soft, Mike, and we look soft, and we sound soft, and I'm worried. I'm worried as a country, man.
Well, you should be worried. We should all be worried, because the current Labour Party are the worst for it, because the Liberal left have always been like this. We've had 60 years since the awful man Roy Jenkins and his Liberal hour, getting rid of the death penalty, making prisons easier, making sentences softer. And we've had this for 60 years, and all these professors will come on here and tell you, oh, but it's better, it reduces crime. And they're telling lies, because what they say is, oh, a person, if they go to prison, they come out and they commit more crime. What they don't tell you, of course, is they've had 40 community sentences before they were ever sent to prison in the first place. And so the whole thing is a scam. And what you have as well is the Labour Party, of course, don't like sending people to prison. And the Tories say, well, we'll cut back and we won't make any more prisons because we'll seemingly save some money. So what you end up with, the two main parties, is the same result. There isn't any prisons or places, and those who deserve to go to prison aren't sent there. They're left out on the streets, and they're not in areas where these MPs live, or the professors who come up with this nonsense research, or the judges who send them there.
Mike,
they're sent back to where the little people live, and they make their lives a misery, and it's really wicked, Jeremy, and it's a bad thing.
Completely agree, Paddy. Now I could talk to you all day. Love having you on. Mike Neville, former Met Police detective, agreeing with me that we need to be tougher and stronger. Sending criminals home to do their sentences and sit on a computer. Geez, what's coming?